BRB UK. Worse teeth, better accents.
Hello, and indeed. Ahoy, hoy, welcome back, I think. Yes, welcome back. Why not? Or if you're here the first time, welcome to BRB UK. It's episode 528, would you believe? I'm Dan, I'm one of your hosts. Good day, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Been another week. I think that's all that really needs to be said. It's been another week. It's been a great show. Thanks ever so much. See you next time. Bye.
Whoa!
Outro music. On time. Super quick podcast.
When the intro music becomes the outro music.
Yeah, exactly. Coleman. I'm joined by Coleman. Say hello, Coleman.
Hello, hi.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. Raring to go. Raring
Great.
to go with
Good
the show.
chat. Love it.
Busy week.
Great chat.
Busy week. Video games.
Tim. Tim.
Hello.
That's where you say hello.
Yeah, I did.
Hello, Tim.
Hello, Dan.
Okay. Brilliant. Good chat. Love it. Brilliant. All right. Well, that's enough banter, boys.
All the
I think.
bants.
Enough
banter, boys.
Mad lad bants. What have you been up to this week, games-wise? What have you been doing? What have you been playing?
Lots of video games.
Too much and not enough.
Yeah. It was a really good week for Game
Too
Pass
much,
this
not
week.
enough, and lots of video games. Oh, mate. I think we've all, well, two of us have been catching up on the surprise drop of Hi-Fi Rush. We'll talk about that in a little tick. Man, those are the kind of surprises I like.
Yeah.
I like those kind of surprises. Whereas I have a really good game for no extra money.
Not just
I
that,
didn't
it's
want to
really
hang the Coleman
surprising
by
that
saying free.
the developer that is making it, Tango Softworks, or whatever their name is, those developers made this type of game is a surprise in itself as well. No, like I think that's an extra surprise on top of the shadow dropping of the game, basically.
But we're going to come back to that, Tim. But we're going to come back to that.
Okay.
Because I think the big one that we probably all need to talk about, things that have been released this week, is the remake of Dead Space. Or Dead Space.
Remake Dead Space.
Remake of Dead Space. I want to know about this. I haven't picked it up, but I might do it at some point.
Parentheses 2023. Can I just say, man, it must suck to be the Callisto Protocol devs. This has rocked up. It's taken their lunch money and gone, that was our lunch money in the first place. We'll have that. Thank you very much. And
It is a
off.
shame because they went off to
Yes.
they got funded from the. I think initially that was meant to be a playground game. The PlayerUnknown Battle PUBG universe tie-in type thing was meant to be Callisto Protocol. Not quite sure how they were going to work that one out, but they went off. They secured funding. Original guys that worked on Dead Space doing their thing, and then so close to release, like probably a year out from release, even though they've spoken about this for years, and then EA just go, by the way, remake of Dead Space. And it seems like a very kind of dickish thing to do. However, I'm going to assume stars just kind of, I know, stars kind of aligned, and maybe it was that whole kind of parallel thinking of, hey, let's do a remake of this, and hey, let's go off and do our own version of this. And I will say, I'm playing on PS5, Dan. Are you on PC?
I am on PC for the sole reason that I don't mean to brag, but I've got the hardware that can run it, you see. But also, it was going to save me about 25 quid buying it on PC compared to PS5.
Fair enough.
That's fair enough.
So, it kind of made the decision for me. I'm probably about a third to halfway through, I think. I'm playing on EA Origin rather than Steam because that's where it was the cheapest. Wow. Can I just say, I think what's really interesting about this remake, so it's called a remake, and it is a proper remake. It isn't just whack some high-res textures in and keep your fingers crossed. It's
built from the ground up.
Built, from that ground, go upwards. That's where it's gone. It's been in the now in the latest version of the Frostbite engine, I believe.
Right.
So it's the Frostbite engine. So I don't know why we keep going significant for some reason. I don't know, but anyway.
I have a reason this week. I'll get to it later.
All right, fair enough. But it's been a proper redo. It's not just a reskin or an upscale. All of the environments have been recrafted, and they've added quite a lot of detail. And until you actually look at the remake side by side to the original, I don't think you remember or don't think you realise how much of a redo it truly, truly is. Because, I mean, I think games like from 10, 15 years ago, and it's depressing that this is 15 years ago, the original Dead Space.
Yeah, wow.
But if you look through the rose-tinted specs back through time, things age better in your mind than they have in reality. And it's not until you put original PS3 or Xbox 360 Dead Space next to the remake that you realise what a massive, massive job this must have been, because it is absolutely night and day. I mean, with the PC version, you've got all of the bells and whistles, of course, really good volumetric lighting, lots of ray tracing. I've locked it to 60 frames a second just to keep it manageable and to stop my room being burnt alive, because
sensible.
PCs run very hot these days. But my goodness, the game's stunning. There's still a couple of wrinkles, I think, in terms of some of the mechanics have started to show their age. And if you've played through Dead Space before, it doesn't quite have the same impact that the original did, just because I think the original was just so groundbreaking in terms of kind of this particular genre, like the kind of the plodding, slow movement, the fact that you're always on the back foot, you feel that you're always kind of one step behind what many of the enemies do. And I've forgotten how just darn creepy some of the enemies were. Completely forgot about tentacle babies until they showed up again. I was like, oh yeah, I remember. I really did not like those suckers.
I will say this when comparing it to Callisto Protocol, because I really enjoyed my time with Callisto Protocol. I didn't finish it, even though one of the big complaints about the game was it's incredibly short, which I don't usually have a problem with that because I never get the time to finish games these days. But when you compare the two together, Callisto Protocol does look miles better than Dead Space, the Dead Space remake, I find. And some of the mechanics are kind of lifted from Dead Space and put into Callisto Protocol. I think they feel better in Callisto Protocol, like the kind of stomping on dead bodies and all that kind of stuff. It feels a lot more satisfying, dare I say, visceral. But
what you did there, I see it.
Yeah. But when you go to the remake of Dead Space, it feels more fluid, more fun. And it does seem like Callisto Protocol feels more dated in that it has a much more heavier reliance on jump scares, with just kind of, hey, you're going to crawl through two narrow objects together and you're going to have to shimmy through slowly. And would you believe it? There's a jump scare waiting for you at the end of it. And it happened. And after a while, you kind of telegraph the jump scares coming and it's lost its novelty, much like, the kind of the Hollywood horror film where the over-reliance of jump scares rather than making a more unnerving type of atmosphere. Dead Space does kind of also have those jump scares, but I just not as much, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's because you start to read the environment, like the fan panels in the wall. You go, is someone going to jump out of that? And you're kind of spending forever creeping around corners, keeping an eye on all of the panels in preparation for something going wrong. And then when nothing happens, it's almost like, oh, I didn't quite like that. I was expecting something to happen and it didn't. But, I kind of, to me, Dead Space is that more unsettling feel than jump scares, I think. And there's something very just creepy about the USG Ishimura, the ship that you're on, and exploring and trying to find out what happened to its crew. Is your wife, who took a job as ship's medic on there, and part of it is you're trying to work out what happened to her. And also something to do with a religious cult that aren't at all Scientologists, okay? They're not. Unitology is very different to Scientology.
Different type of ology,
if the lawyers ask.
I feel, because I've got a different perspective to this game than you two would have, because I never played Dead Space 1, 2, and 3. The most I ever played was...
young.
No, it's not that. I just wasn't
too young. They wouldn't let you buy it in game, would they?
I just wasn't really into horror games back then, and it's only something that I've recently gotten into. Like, I liked horror games on the original PlayStation, and then just kind of fell off them as I got older, and only recently finding them. There's more of a kind of a variety of horror games to find out there. So I'm getting more, and plus because of the show, I tend to try and force myself into things that I wouldn't normally play. So for the good of talking about them on the show, and find myself pleasantly surprised by a lot of them. So the most I've ever played of Dead Space is the original demo, which put me off because it was a legendarily bad demo for Dead Space 1, full of bugs, and the iPhone game version of Dead
The
Space
iPhone
2,
game was
I think it was.
surprisingly good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The iPhone game was surprisingly good for the time.
But that got me interested enough with that kind of mechanics. I like the idea of like the health system being up the spine and the gun kind of everything not having a HUD, everything's signaled to you in your environment and your character. I like that stuff.
It kind of all felt in universe and very coherent, which I quite liked. And I think really this was the first game that properly attempted to do the one shot over the shoulder thing before the redos of God of War. And I think it gets away with it slightly more now. I mean, there are, however, a couple of changes in addition just to a proper spit and polish. So there's like now kind of security level doors that weren't there before. So you've now, there's stuff to go back and explore and unlock once you get security clearance.
Yeah.
But this might just be me being an old giffer. And apologies.
Highly likely.
Because it's a very good chance that is indeed the case. I don't remember him speaking as much.
No, that's the other thing. That's kind of the other unique take I get from this, not having played the series properly before, is that it gives me that thing of, is this game good because of nostalgia? It's like, no, this game's good. I'm enjoying the game. And I have no nostalgia basis to that. But any changes made aren't necessarily going to bug me because I never had them before. But yeah, I've heard one of the big complaints is that Isaac speaks now.
Yeah, I mean, and I think for me, it's not that the guy who voices Isaac does a bad job; he does a good job.
Yeah,
but it kind of makes the experience feel. I think one of the things about playing through the original Dead Space was I kind of very much felt almost this kind of claustrophobic isolation with it.
Right,
and you kind of projected your own reaction to it into Isaac, and now that he speaks, it kind of a bit of that away.
Do you know who
if
the
that makes
voice
any
actor
sense.
was? Because I can't remember if it was the same in 1, but I know in 2 it was the guy that now plays Kratos.
Christopher Judge.
Yeah,
I don't think it was Christopher Judge. Was it
really?
Christopher
it was
Judge?
definitely in 2 because
No.
I went to a Dead Space 2 event and Christopher Judge was there
Gotcha.
as the voice actor in the game. I'm fairly sure that is correct.
It was Gunnar Wright plays Isaac Clarke.
In the first one, or
Gunnar Wright? No, this is in the remake.
right? So yeah, I imagined it wasn't him.
It says Gunnar Wright played him in Dead Space 2 as well.
Okay,
You, sir,
don't know
are
why
talking
Christopher Judge
garbage.
was there. Then. Maybe because there was an anime.
He heard
release
you
at
were
the
going to be
time.
there, Tim.
Maybe he
I
was
heard
a
there's
different-
a guy. I heard there was this guy who went to E3 once, and I just want to be in the same room as him.
It might have been
Judge was.
It was before I went to E3, I think. But hey,
Yeah, it's always been Gunnar Clark. He was even in
Okay.
PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. There you go.
Pizzazba.
Pizzazba, as we like to say.
Pizzazba. I mean,
We've all
I'm just
learned
having a look.
something
So
today.
Christopher Judge has been in Def Jam,
Yeah.
World of Warcraft, additional voices, Turok as Jericho, Stargate, SG1, unsurprisingly, StarCraft 2,
he played Nicholas Kuttner.
language.
He played Nicholas Kuttner in Dead Space. I don't remember who. Right, it was Dead Space Aftermath, so it was the animation.
The
rather than
animated.
Yeah, there we go. That's probably why, because at that event you were thinking of is when they had like
it was between
the
1
comic
and 2,
and the
and
anime,
they were
yeah.
also
Short films,
promoting
yeah.
the anime there as well, which also was very
Yeah,
good,
yeah.
by the way. But yeah,
which was really good actually.
Never saw it.
And he also played Black Panther in Marvel's Avengers. Christopher Judge.
Yes, I knew that.
didn't know that.
Oh yeah,
Okay, there you go. Very nice guy, by the way, as well.
Good.
he had to be Tim. That's he was like, hi, E3 guy.
He was.
I'm Christopher Judge.
He was
That's all
He
right,
was
you
very
for a bit.
nice, but also very drunk. I think combination of jet lag and free
well.
drink. Jet lag plus free bar equals.
Yeah, it's not. We've all
happy
been there.
times.
It's not good.
Yeah. But he was still
Yeah.
really
A
nice.
friend of mine went to some kind of British film movie Comic-Con type thing, and they were doing a Stargate SG-1 panel. And every time someone got up to ask a question, they would say, "Thank you for coming," and then ask their question. And then my mate got up and just started asking his question, and he's just like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! You're going to thank me for coming here." So I like that.
Yeah. He was very
I like
funny,
Christopher
very
Judge.
personable, very nice.
He's a
But
good.
yeah.
Let's get him on the
yeah,
podcast.
he's-
He could be the new Tim.
Yeah, if you're listening, Christopher Judge,
Yep.
spot open.
Yep.
We'll let you know. you don't
I'll
have
give
to
him a
be
seat
British,
up
really,
for
it's
him if
fine.
he wants. I think I got him to
Yeah.
record
I'm sure he'll be chomping at the bit, mate.
I think I got him to record a thing. I think it was for Sarcastic Gamer, but the don't listen to the Sarcastic Gamer UK podcast, basically.
I remember those.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, so I'm really enjoying my time back through it. You're right, Colin. I don't know how much of it is misty-eyed nostalgia versus would I enjoy this as much if this is the very first time I played it. I still think it's a really, really, really good game. Some of the mechanics probably haven't aged well. Like certainly the 0G sequences feel, I think, a bit more laboured now than they did. There was nothing really else comparing with them back at the time. But I mean, it's a very atmospheric game. Tells the story very well. It still feels, the combat still feels very different to anything I think you'll experience in any other game. Really enjoying it. I think it's quite expensive.
Yeah.
I realise it is a from the ground up remake, but whenever you see remake, it is just one of those things you don't expect it necessarily to be a full blown price. I mean, I paid 35 quid.
That's a bit more like it.
Which is a good, reasonable price. I think once you start knocking on the door, how much was it on PlayStation? It was like 65 or 70.
I
think.
Don't know. I bought a physical copy for 45.
See, again, that's a bit better.
See, that's not so bad.
I'm still going to wait for it to come down in price from that because I'm not in a rush to play it. But I will probably pick it up at some stage because I really like the original. And as you say, it seems like a good remake. The fact that both of you two are enjoying it encourages me to pick it up more. But yeah, just not in a rush. Like, I played all 3 of the Dead Spaces and enjoyed them. And yeah, I'll happily go back to it at some stage.
I very much enjoyed Dead Space 1 and 2. Dead Space 3.
Yeah, people didn't like that as much. I did.
Yeah, I've heard that.
But yeah.
Yeah,
I liked it
That
more.
was because of the
Jump the shark.
microtransactions and
You like Rise.
The microtransactions didn't bother me at that
Sorry,
stage,
reminded me of that.
and I actually quite liked the fact that it had co-op. A lot of people said that took
they
away
should have,
from
because
the
now look at
horror
the
of
state
it,
of
but
gaming.
I don't mind. Well, there you go. Also, just the dev.
Rise.
I'd noticed
His opinions
the
are
dev Glenn Schofield, is it the head of the people that went off to make the Callisto Protocol, who was originally the head of Dead Space, gave it his seal of approval this week. I'm not sure that was entirely necessary, but
Headspace.
still
that's cool.
Dead Space. It's still
That's
a nice
nice
thing
of
to
him.
do, sort of thing. But also, I also noted
Kind
in
of
that
a victory and defeat.
Yeah, I mentioned a few weeks ago that I wasn't sure if EA Motive still existed, and they made this, so they obviously still do. But
Yeah,
hopefully
they exist, mate.
now they finish this,
Can
they can
confirm.
do a PS5 version of Squadrons for PSVR 2, please. Please, if you could, that'd be great. Thanks.
I'm sure they'll be right on that. Alongside, they'll be forming a queue behind Christopher Judge to come and meet you again, Tim.
Just quickly, well, I remember, I think I heard this on podcast, Gamers Confessional. They said something along the lines of, if you can play this on PC, I think if you buy like the EA subscription for a month at £14 something, then and beat the game in a month, then you can probably save a fair bit of money that way.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what there is in terms of replayability. I think they've probably chucked in a few more collectibles. There's security door system, all that stuff.
Who's
But
got time to be a
I mean, that is
completionist these days?
that is another way to do it, of course. Yeah, but I think full price as it is at the moment, probably quite steep. I think somewhere in the 35 to 45 quid mark feels about right. But that might just be me being a grumpy old so-and-so going, back in my day, that's what games used to cost. £45.
I mean, that's not true, but
Hey,
Well,
All this
45 maybe,
Trussonomics nonsense. 70 quid for a game. Shove it up your ass. Sorry, YouTube. Shove it up somewhere.
your
But
bottom.
when you don't have
Yes,
the
the
development
bottom.
costs of doing all the concept art and all that other stuff, and that side of things, there should be a bit of a savings on.
By Rapthals.
What a savings.
What a savings.
Hmm.
Anyway, yes. Anyway, I like it, and I think you might too.
Good. I'll quickly say I have played more Forspoken.
My commiserations.
Ooh, Forspoken.
Oh, bad game.
It's not a bad game. Why do you keep saying that? You haven't even played it. You just played the demo.
I played the demo and it was bad.
It's not a good
and I still
demo.
haven't forgiven it for that.
Yeah,
I was
bad
excited
demo.
about this game, gosh darn it.
Not necessarily a bad game.
Fully admit.
I was excited, and do you know how upset I was that the demo was absolute garbage, and I still haven't forgiven it for it yet. And it's your job, Coleman. It's on you to convince me why I shouldn't be sad again.
I just wanted to say, because I had to play Dead Space and for the show, so I didn't really get a lot more time with it. But I will say, when getting into the demo, it's got getting into the full game, it's got a really strong start, which I was speaking about last week. But then there is kind of a long meandering path to get to the actual open gameplay and out of the story. And I just kind of went through this moment of going, I've got to skip all these side part missions and stuff that it's throwing at me because I just want to get out into the world and muck about. But once you get back out into the open world and start unlocking things and running around doing what you want, it's super fun. It is a really good game. It's just quite a slow build, but a lot of people like that in their games. They want a big story world to throw themselves into. I need that quiet period when I, as well as Horizon, I've got to put that on the back burner. And then when I get a quiet period, just sit down and that be my one and only game that I constantly play. But I'm sort of now I'm in the open world. I'm going back in and out and having fun and doing the challenges and stuff rather than progressing with the story. But I still like it. I think it's a really good game.
I've still got a horrible feeling. Just the voice acting in the script is going to make me
I've spoken to many a
person
person that say this is a good game and Dan's an idiot.
Name them, I will hunt them down. If one of them's Christopher Judge, however, he's allowed to say that.
It was Christopher Judge.
It was Christopher Judge. Okay, all right. Well, you're allowed.
It wasn't him. It was the little parasite in his stomach. It came out and said, Forspoken's a really good game. I don't think they speak.
Even more reason not to mess with the Judge in his symbiote.
He'll get you with his gold symbiote thing.
Yep. Anyway, but a game that was definitely a nice price.
Nice price.
Nice price that Tim and I think, have you not enjoyed this, Coleman?
How have you not played this, Coleman? Just not enough time this week? This
Hi-Fi Rush.
Your sort of game than our sort of
Rush.
Just
Hi-Fi Rush.
I've been busy. I finished editing the show last week and then work and then straight after that Avatar and then got back past midnight. And then
to be fair, Avatar's going to take up most of your week.
Yeah, that was fun.
It's that long.
And then it was Royal Rumble, so I went off to Hampshire to go watch it with my mates, and then I was battered by the time it was Sunday. I just didn't get time to game much more than the two assigned I had.
Yeah, Hi-Fi Rush. Great.
Yeah.
Lovely game. Yeah, talk to me about it, Timothy, because you're very, very excited about this game.
I mean, right. I like it, and I like it a bit more than I thought I might, considering it is a rhythm-based game, because you don't really have to have that much rhythm to get on with the game. There are sections where you really need to, but most of the game you can get away with, like in combat particularly, and the platforming stuff. You don't have to do in time to the beat, although everything does still have a musical element to it. For anyone that hasn't seen, Hi-Fi Rush is a game where everything is in time with the beat. It's a action platforming game where the combat in particular, you have to you get, I think, a better reward if you are timing your hits in time to the beat, but you always hit on time to the beat. So no matter when you press the button, it will do the hit on the time to the beat. You just get a better reward if you press it at the right time.
It's actually really good, that, though. I know it sounds like, well, it doesn't matter what you do, but actually you can use that as a cue to, because one of the things I think this does really well is give you lots of cues, not only audio but
and visual
as
clues,
well, when the beats are. And if you it actually says in a tip from one of the fridges, it makes sense when you go through it. I promise you. That it's like, if you lost, just hit the button at the same time you do the strike, and you'll get back in sync.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, the way I put it last week, because I played this for about an hour, I think, but the way it feels, it's a hack and slash, kind of like a Devil May Cry with that combo system, but the combo system isn't just based on your combo hits, but also your time to the beat to get your multiplier up.
But for instance, I get through all the combat sections, and it gives you a rating for each different aspect of the game. And one of the things is your timing, and one of the things is how fast you get through it. I always suck at timing. I always get through it really quickly because I'm just not timing things well.
How is your girlfriend these days, Tim? How is your girlfriend doing? She all right?
No complaints.
apart from the reason not coordinated and he gets through it too quickly.
As Coleman said last week as well, it's got a really nice kind of flat shading art style that really pops really well. The characters are really well realized and really amusing, really funny. It's just a really well made game. And despite me not particularly getting into the rhythm of it, I still have really enjoyed playing through it. So even if you don't particularly gravitate towards rhythm-based games, it's still worth playing and having a look at, I think, because it's a bit unique. It does remind me quite a lot of, what was the previous game on Xbox? Sunset Overdrive. Reminds me of that, but without the kind of skating element to it, with a musical element instead. The one caveat I will say to that is there are certain sections where you need to be in time and you need to have a bit of rhythm, and I do find those a bit more taxing. Like there's some lasers that kind of pulse laser beams at you at a certain time, and the only way to defeat them is to counteract or
go offbeat.
Yeah, but you got to counteract in the rhythm that they're firing lasers at you, basically. And you deflect them back at them, and it's the only way to do that. I can't remember what the actual action's called. It's a fairly common word in what's something. Not counteract, but anyway, yeah. But
parry.
But there's parry. That's the word, and that's what they call it, and that's what it is.
Yay!
Yeah.
And I do find parrying quite difficult in the game.
You're a defensive move, parry.
Yes. And there's those laser beam things that do that. There's some buttons you need to hit, like big buttons you need to hit, and you need to do like a succession of different things in time. Fortunately, they don't drain energy, but I do have to take a few too many attempts to get through them. And there's a couple of other bits where my lack of timing is making the game more difficult for me to almost a point of frustration. Oh yeah, there's like samurai enemies where you have to parry them at a certain time as well, and I find those quite difficult at the moment. But yeah, like overall really enjoyable game. I definitely recommend having a look if you've got Game Pass, because I think it's the only way you can get access to it. No, I don't know that it's available.
No, you can buy it as well.
Yeah, you can buy it on Xbox. It's £25 and it's on Steam as well, and it apparently works amazingly on Steam Deck.
Hey, there we go, Missy Deek.
One unfortunate thing is that the graphics settings are linked to the cloud instead of locally. So when you set up on the Steam Deck to what you want and you set up on your desktop to what you want, it kind of carries over the same settings depending. Yeah, you got to change it each time apparently. I'm sure that'll get patched out though.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's another really great example of some of the lovely surprises you can get with Game Pass.
Yeah.
Would I pay 30 quid for it?
I'd pay 15.
See,
yeah.
But that's the thing. I don't think I would have even paid 15 for it, but I'm really glad that I got the opportunity to play through and see how much I actually enjoyed it, because I think the rhythm-based thing would have put me off purchasing it at any price. But I'm really glad I got to experience a game that I wouldn't have normally picked up myself, and that's the advantage of Game Pass, basically. So, yeah, I think that was really good.
I mean, it's a really nicely polished package. Yeah. It really, really is. I mean, the voice acting by and large is great. It kind of feels unique without feeling too contrived. It kind of doesn't make you feel like you're an absolute idiot for constantly missing beats. It's not like it does the full Guitar Hero thing of squealing sounds, making you sound absolutely miserable at whatever you're doing. It kind of, you always feel like you're contributing in some way. It's not just things that happen despite your actions. So it does make you feel engaged. And to me, what I really, really like is just how seamlessly the beat of the music is just woven into absolutely everything around you and the environment. And one of the things that I'm sure many people would think, well, what about people who might need a hand in hearing the music or in seeing or responding to the beats or environmental cues? They've done a really great job from an accessibility point of view as well.
And there's extra things you can turn on if you're struggling as well.
It's a really big challenge. But but what I've played of it so far, I've really, really enjoyed. I mean, probably the plot is a little bit cliched, but I think that's probably by design. It's like, there's a big evil corporation, and you've been suckered into helping out this big evil corporation as a nobody, and now you're going to take them down because you're that kind of guy. So it's that usual stuff. But yeah, I'm really, really enjoying it. It's quite a nice, refreshing, fun game to play.
Yeah, they do a really good job of making the main character a likable idiot, which is actually hard to do in a game. But I think they do a really good job of that.
I thought he was going to be a bad, cheap knockoff of Star-Lord for a bit, but he's kind of quite. He's a very originally likable, down and out with a plucky attitude.
I just thought He's a anime protagonist.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what it felt like. Even so much as when he's introduced, he does the whole arm back of the, the head.
But they literally play on that, and
But
they do it quite
ham
well.
that up a bit.
Like they really play up to that and do a really good job of it, I think. So, yeah.
But I think kind of the big thing, and you mentioned this earlier, Tim, is that actually this is for Tango Gameworks, the company that made this game. This is actually a bit of a left field kind of game for them, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because they were behind Evil Within 2 Ghostwire Tokyo. So this is a bit of a kind of against type
Definite
game
departure,
for them,
yeah.
which I think.
And also the director, Resident Evil 2, and Resident Evil 4.
Yep. So yeah, it's a wonderful little surprise.
It was good.
Yeah, I like it. I'm looking forward to getting back to it. I don't know because this is one that I want to take on the go on the Steam Deck. So I'll probably wait for a Steam Deck sale because even though I can play tethering my phone to my Steam Deck and doing it on the 5G and stuff, streaming, I'd prefer to be able to like take that out and about play it on the tube, that kind of sort of thing, rather than, just every now and then in my lunch break.
The one thing I'll say, though, is you do want to listen to it, though. You want to wear headphones if you're out and about on the Steam Deck.
Got headphones.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
I've got ears.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Got ears.
I
can listen. It's all right.
And if you are kind of streaming it through Game Pass on your Massive Dick, as I'm assuming you've given it a go so far, how's the latency on it? Because I could see that it's going to be really sensitive to that.
I spoke about this last week. I connected it to my phone and did it through 5G. And you couldn't tell you were streaming it. It's the most clear I've ever seen a game stream.
Okay,
yeah.
Right, that's good.
And there was no latency. Well, as far as I could tell, I had to take, because I usually use Bluetooth headphones, but I keep a pair of wired headphones in my Steam Deck case in case the latency becomes too much. And because it's a ribbon game, you do need wired headphones or low signal Bluetooth headphones instead. Mm-hmm. So like some Steel Series or something rather than Bose.
Oh, and just one other thing that we hadn't particularly mentioned, but it's a nice little touch. The fact that every one of your actions in the game has a musical note that goes alongside it. So when you jump or when you dash or when you're just hitting something with your sort of guitar instrument thing, like it's all got definite musical notes to it. But yeah,
guitar instrument thing, yes.
Guitar instrument thing. Well, it's not quite a guitar, but it is guitar
your
related.
junky implement.
Yeah.
It's a litter picker that turns into a flying V.
Exactly. But yeah, as I said, it's been a particularly good week on Game Pass this week as well. We haven't even mentioned, and I don't think we'll get to this week, the fact that GoldenEye came out. I did give that a little play as well. We may talk about that in the future week.
I've been playing that.
I've heard not good things about that.
I've heard bad things on the... I've heard a lot of people
Switch.
complain because it's GoldenEye, and GoldenEye does not play very well. But on the Switch, especially, a lot of people complaining. And I don't think, I haven't played it on the Switch, so you'd have to correct me if I'm wrong, someone, but I don't think out of the box it plays with like a traditional shooter. That's a setting you have to go in and set yourself.
Yeah.
Whereas on Game Pass, if you're playing it on the Xbox, if you're playing it on Xbox or on streaming on Game Pass, then it's a dual stick, so it plays like a traditional shooter out the box, and that's how I've been playing. I've been again streaming it to the Steam Deck, and it's played very well. I've done a few levels that way. I'm probably going to hook it up at work on lunchtime one day and do some get the PlayStation 4 controllers out and do some split screen multiplayer death matches.
I played through the first level, died, and went, oh yeah, you need to start again when you die in this game, don't you? I can't be bothered with that. I'm going to play more Hi-Fi Rush. But there's also 2 other games that dropped today, Grid Legends and Darkest Dungeon, I think, came out today. But I also got
I love
a chance
Darkest Dungeon.
Darkest Dungeon's a cracking
exactly.
game.
I know you've been going on that for a while, so I want to try that at some point. But
good team game.
There's 2 previews that came out this week. One of them hasn't been working for me, so I haven't been able to download it. I don't know about you guys, but there was I can't remember what it's called, but there's a roguelike FPS with robots that looks quite cool.
Not narrowing it down
to play.
Oh,
it came out in game preview, but every time I go to download it goes, there's a problem at the moment, please retry later. So I haven't been able to download it. But the one I did try that's in game preview on Xbox Game Pass is one I've been looking forward to. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce it, so I'll try, but Inkulinati?
Inkulinati.
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 Yes.
Like Illuminati, but ink.
Yes, but with the ink at the beginning, which
Ulinati.
isn't that easy to say. But it is a really good, fun game. It's a kind of turn-based strategy game, which obviously appeals to me. But it kind of sits weirdly alongside Pentiment in the games that are based on historical settings in a style of a old sort of 14th century monks illustrations.
Right.
It's an odd subgenre of things right now, but it kind of got the same graphical style of that. It is a bit sillier, and it's got kind of elements of very Monty Python-esque animations to it. Like, there's actually, at different points in the game, you see like a real pair of hands come in and like poke someone with a finger and do them damage and stuff like that. And you can literally use your finger to nudge people off the edge of the board and kill them and stuff like that. It's got a real silly level of humor. The kind of basic game is you're actually a kind of, I can't remember what they call them, but basically a scribe and someone that kind of actually writes out these type of manuscripts, medieval manuscript type things. There are different settings, but the main kind of thing is like you versus another one of those characters, and each of you can draw characters into the game that's different parts of your army. So you start with like I think it's a rabbit that wields a bow and a dog that has a sword, various different animal-based things with medieval type weaponry. And there's some very Monty Python-esque looking sort of drawings in that kind of medieval style. But you draw them into life, and then you can then move them around, and they have different attacks based on the weaponry that they have. Like swords will attack the square next to them. Bows can be used to attack enemies further away, and there's spears can attack 2 squares, and 2 squares away from you, sort of thing. And it's very different. It's very like silly humor and kind of Monty Python-esque stupidness, but there's a good turn-based strategy game at its heart, and it plays a bit differently to any turn-based strategy game I've played before. So it's a good kind of cerebral head scratcher that sets a different task. Like, it's very easy to like accidentally have your main person killed and then you lose the game, like just by leaving them too close to an edge, and they'll get nudged off and you will die basically. But then you can do that to the enemy as well, so it feels kind of fair for you. But if you make too many mistakes, then I think there's a quill, and if you lose a match, you lose a quill, and you only start with 3 quills, and if you lose all your quills, that's it, game over basically. So there is a sort of roguelike element to it, but you can kind of, I think you could get the opportunity to buy quills back. I haven't had that chance yet, but then you can buy other beasts that are the creatures that you release and fight with.
Chickens.
And you can get other hand powers, as they call them, which is one of which is where you can poke someone and hurt them. But there's other hand powers that you can buy and other things that are available.
Deploy the herbivore.
And you have to gain ink back to be able to draw more characters. But there's also a boredom mechanic where the more you draw the same creature, the more bored the artist gets. So it costs you more ink to draw those creatures. So you need to be, battling. You need to be battling with different creatures in different chapters and different fights, so that the cost doesn't go up too much, and you can't afford to use them. Basically,
I have a question.
Yes.
Well, I have 2 questions.
Okay.
What's with all the farting animals is question number 1. There's a lot of farting animals.
There is a lot of
game.
farting animals.
Badgers.
And butt-based attacks.
But I also haven't quite... Right, okay, lovely. But I haven't quite got... So how can you, like, win a match or lose a match? Is it just kind of... You keep drawing at animals until you run out of ink? Or
there are
like
different scenarios, but just to make it easier, in the kind of like the end-of-level battles and the general kind of principle of it, it's you versus another person drawing animals. You're sat on a little chair type thing, and you can draw the animals from there, and then you kind of spread out your army from there. There's only a certain number of squares or like places in front or behind you that you can position creatures. It gets a bit more complicated when you get to different levels, but I'll leave that out for now. So if you were just on one surface, basically you can release creatures in front or behind you, and then you can move those creatures around and get them in range to attack the enemy's creatures or the enemy themselves, basically. And you win by either reducing that enemy's health to 0 or by knocking them off the edge of the map into oblivion. Yeah.
Good.
But it's really fun. I suggest
You're right,
playing
Coleman.
it. It's a bit rough
Sound
around the edges
asleep.
at the moment, but it's definitely worth checking out at some point.
But so that is a thing. Just to re-emphasize, it is in game preview at the
Yes,
moment.
and it's early preview. I think it might be available on PC as well, but it's definitely available on Xbox Game Pass. And they are asking for feedback,
it is
and they will
PC.
make changes based on that feedback by the looks of things. So, yeah. The UI is a bit confusing at first and a bit fiddly, but I think once you get used to it, it's okay. And there are lots of hints and tips. It seems like it would work a lot better with a mouse or on Switch or on your Steam Deck. But it's still playable on Game Pass, and I recommend turn-based strategy fans having a go.
Excellent. Are we done with what we've played?
There's one other thing I mentioned very quickly, because I know we're very over on time, but I did have a little play of Tilt 5 this week. It's an AR glasses setup. I only played like 2 very quick games, one where you're a marble rolling through like a maze, and another one where you're like picking up and dropping bombs on enemies as they come out in waves. AR's weird. It's a very odd experience. The glasses are odd as well. Like you have the glasses, you each have a set of glasses and a little like wand type thing that has a analog stick on it and a few buttons. And you control most of the stuff with the analog stick and stuff, but then the glasses you're viewing, and you can view like a big board that you set up on a table, and then you can see that in the table. It kind of gives it some depth. But the glasses are really odd. Like they've got 2 big fans that are just like on the upper side of the eyepieces there, because I think there's projectors.
Just keep your eyebrows cool.
Well, there's projectors.
Everyone knows that's where a human.
Well, yeah.
That's how humans get rid of heat is through their eyebrows, which is why you've got to have the old eyebrow fans on
there's
there.
2 projectors in the glasses, and they probably put out quite a bit of heat, so they need like those fans to go through. But it makes the glasses really loud when they're just sitting on your face, which is odd. But the sound does come out of the like arms of the glasses as well. I'll play it a bit more in future weeks and talk about it a bit more, but
You do
it
that.
was an odd but fun experience so far, but I look forward to playing a bit more of it and getting a bit more in depth with it at some stage.
I think we need to move on, since Coleman is having his own private disco.
Yay. And we're back.
Yay! Well done, you Coleman.
Who got smart lights this week?
Someone has. His name's Coleman.
All right, should we do some news?
Let's do some news.
Cool. We need a theme for like updates on our ones to watch. This is all I got so far.
I think generally it's wah 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 wah.
No, we'll go with this.
It's,
That'll do. So,
You
one of
should
my
just do the
picks,
ending
Jedi
rather than the starting
Fallen.
beats.
No, that's not right. Star Wars Jedi Survivor has been delayed. Fortunately, not too long, just till April the 28th. The reason
that's
giving,
not that bad.
yeah, EA Respawn, they came out and said, hey, we're doing a bit of bug testing, we're doing a bit of polish, we're going to get this game super shiny and ready for you. So the new release date is moved from March the 17th to April the 28th, which is smart, because the real reason is they're avoiding the mighty release date of WWE 2K23, which was meant to release on the same
Everyone
day,
cowers in
announced
fear.
last week. Yeah.
That was causing you problems anyway. I just realised it's a bit of a brave move, though, because it does move it into a new tax year, which is usually something they would try and avoid desperately.
Maybe they're doing well enough that they've had massive losses to kind of make up their full line. So maybe they're going, hey, we're going to start the tax year off with the right kind of movement, and that is Star Wars stuff.
Money.
We like money. I'm really looking forward to that. But I'm also looking forward to WWE 2K23, and this means I'm not buying 2 brand new games on the same day. So that's good.
Do you know what else they probably got out the way of on the video game release schedule in the middle of March?
Go on then.
Peppa Pig World Adventures.
Well, that's the real
that's
reason
smart.
you want to avoid
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's the real reason. Man, that game's going to be banging.
That's going to be off the hook. Banger
is gonna
after
be-
banger after banger.
Oh,
and
that's
we're not
quite
just talking about
quite
the pigs.
insensitive, as in like kind of a pig-based food way.
Yeah,
banger
banger.
after banger after banger.
Exactly.
nom,
Anyway,
nom,
speaking of EA, and because we've had such a lovely surprise with the Dead Space remake being so good, with one hand EA giveth and with the other they taketh away because, Jason Schreier, he's been busy this week with his reporting on the stuff going behind the scenes.
He's a sneaky little boy, isn't he?
Oh,
He's
yes.
sneaky. He's just crawling around in the back rooms of all these video game companies with his big old shiny baldy head.
Love him or hate him, he's got some he's got some contacts, but he spoke about this week that there was meant to be a single player Titanfall game which has reportedly been cancelled by EA. This was meant to be Titanfall Legends, and I don't know about you, but after playing Titanfall 2 and absolutely loving it and hoping that there would be some kind of follow-up to that, but not getting my hopes up because it was released the same week as the Battlefield that year as well, and so close to Modern Warfare, and it absolutely tanked the sales.
They absolutely shot themselves in the foot, I seem to remember. It's just like, we're going to just make life ridiculously complicated for ourselves.
Yeah.
Idiots.
And then because Apex kind of took off so well, and that was in the same universe but not involving any mechs, I didn't see us getting any more Titanfall, and it looks like we were so close. So close. I'm hoping we get back to this because I really like Titanfall 2. In fact, with the news of this, I ended up picking up Titanfall 2 because it's like £3.70 on Steam at the moment.
Oh, it's crazy cheap, and the single player is corking.
It's crazy big to be installing on your Steam Deck though. It's like 85 gig. So
this is why you got the massive dick, mate.
Yeah, the multiplayer was as good as the first one, but the single player really shone out as one of the best first-person shooter campaigns that there is, basically. So, shame we're not getting more.
It was amazing. I just remembered why I've been in the South African persuasion of speaking this week, and it's because of my Bose headphones. I connected them to my Steam Deck for the first... Sorry, I double-tapped it. It started talking to me. I got confused. I connected them to my Steam Deck for the first time. And when they connected to my Steam Deck, went, connected to Steam Deck. Yay!
Yay!
I didn't make it do that.
Excellent.
So that's fun. Something that's not fun this week is so if you have a PlayStation 5 and you are a PlayStation Plus subscriber, you may have noticed you get greeted with a cool collection of games from the PlayStation 4 era. A lot of which
like that collection.
And a lot of which got some kind of backwards support for PlayStation 5. So, for instance, if you play God of War, which is in the collection, you can play that on the full frames per second setting and the HDR 4K stuff all at the same time. Something that's not available on the PS4. So there are improvements to be had on the PS5. That subscription, PlayStation Plus collection, will no longer be available from May the 9th.
Boom.
However,
why?
They didn't say.
Licenses with third parties apparently, but also I don't know because some of those titles are first party.
Yeah.
I heard it's going to get rolled into the PlayStation Plus Essential Collection.
See, that does make sense though, because that gives more perceived value to the Essential Collection. I would say if you're on the basic or anything else, if you download those games, you will be able to access them in the future. So go and download them before this gets cut off, because then you'll still be able to play them, but you won't if you try and do it in the future.
Do you have to download them, or do you just have to add them to your library?
Just add them to your library.
But I think just adding them to your library.
No, it's true. You add them to your library. I have tested this.
Okay, cool.
I will say, if you only have a PlayStation 4 and there's a lineup of games on there that you like the look of, and if you have a friend that has a PS5, go log in on your friend's account, on your friend's PS5 on your account, and download them, add them all to your library, and then log out again.
That's
because because I got my girlfriend her PS5 first and stuck with the PS4 before I could get hold of my PS5. That's exactly what I did. I logged in on hers, put all the games on my thing, and then started playing them that way. It's a cool way to do it.
Do make sure you trust the person whose console you're logging into, though.
Oh yeah, I've done it with like family members.
Be super
put the
safe
thing on theirs.
Yeah, just don't let anyone have your credit cardy stuff. Is all I'm saying.
I mean, that's why I said a friend. I didn't say go meet someone on Twitter or something. Go on Reddit and ask for someone
from round the back of B-Jam.
But speaking of credit card fraud, Fish.
See, there was a reason I said that. There was a link.
That's fair enough.
It was a link.
You got to watch out for fish, especially the ones that play Pokemon for you.
The Pokefish.
This is a random story that's been doing the rounds, but there is a YouTuber called, let's see if we can get the correct pronunciation here, Mutkumaru channel, which is someone that they have a setup where they live stream their fish playing various games.
Yes.
So they have motion tracking software, and as the fish go to different sections of the screen, that mimics them pressing buttons, and they just leave them to go about their way. So recently, the fish have been live streaming Pokemon Violet, have been winning some battles very slowly. It's very much like Twitch plays Pokemon, if you remember that whole thing going on at the time.
Yeah.
But fish. So this is going on, and at some point, the owner just left the fish off to do their own thing and went about their day. And about 5 hours into the stream, the game crashed, which meant that the fish had access to the owner's Switch through the menus and started doing various things on the menu. It managed to add 500 yen, which is £3.14 of funds to the owner's account.
Excellent.
Also exposed the owner's credit card information.
Oh.
Good work, fish.
Sent a PayPal verification email, redeemed some Nintendo Switch Online points for Nintendo Switch Sports profile pictures, and downloaded the Switch's Nintendo 64 emulator app.
Oh.
And did he changed his Nintendo account name as well to like
Something along those lines. According to TechSpot, they said that he got in contact with Nintendo and got a refund. Well, it wasn't a huge amount. I'd be more worried about your credit card information being available for all and sundry to find. Yeah.
But although apparently Nintendo did not, he told that he got hold of Nintendo and said, "Look, this true story. My fish was playing playing on my Switch, and he accidentally bought some points. Could I have my money back?" And they gave him his money back.
Oh.
So good on you, Nintendo. At least you didn't go carping on about it.
Ah.
Dear, oh dear.
They could have put him in his place, couldn't they?
It was a fishy story.
It was a fishy story.
I think it was Johnny Vaughan that there was the story of. He left his dog unattended in the car as he went into the shops, and the car took the handbrake off. The dog took the handbrake off in the car, and then it rolled down a hill and crashed into another car. And he he phoned his insurance company, but the dog was not a named insured driver.
Now, what an incredible loophole that is for an insurance company to get out of paying the claim.
They will
That is
do
just
anything
ridiculous.
to get out of paying a claim.
What's it? Fido? No, he's not on the list, mate. Sorry.
Sometimes I forget my own birthday, but I remember useless information like that.
Yeah, Coleman, all I was going to say is, though, I think, I know how you like to aspire to be chaos at the end of every episode. I think that fish has out-chaosed you, by the way.
For this week. Although this happened like 2 weeks ago, so yeah. I'm going to check out this fish streaming channel. I think that sounds like something soothing. Maybe I can put that on instead of carpet cleaning videos while I'm editing.
Carpet cleaning.
Maybe I'll put Twitch streams of, it's YouTube streams of fish playing video games while I'm editing now.
Sounds good.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is amazing. What absolute amazement this is. Brilliant. That might be my favourite story of the year so far.
We could do a similar stream where we try get Tim to play a game.
Uh-huh.
He's got approximately the same memory recall as well.
I have one now.
We give Tim a platformer or a rhythm-based title, and then we just leave him on a live stream for 5 hours.
Yep.
And then randomly pressing
we just leave him with a menu. Oh,
yeah. Maybe that's a good extra life thing, Tim. That's what you have to do.
I'll just
Tim with a
randomly
menu.
press buttons until I access one of your credit cards or accidentally launch a nuke or something.
I think we leave Tim with a PC game menu, and he's like, "Whoa, there's graphics options as well. I'm going to be here for a while."
That's the reason. That's the real reason I can't play on PC, because I'd just be stuck in the graphics options menu for like 8 hours.
Extended menus. Yeah.
I mean, Tim has a Netflix subscription, but he's always just lost in the menu. He's never watched a film or a show on Netflix. He's just there going, so many choices.
My girlfriend
What
does
do I
actually
do?
complain about how often I scroll through stuff without selecting something and just getting on with watching something. So that's accurate. That's
just
fair.
watch Friends. Yeah, it's watch Friends.
I have been known
watch
to just
Friends.
take the controller out of my girlfriend's hand and put a film on because she goes, what do you want to watch? I go, I don't know, pick something. And then half an hour later, she's still scrolling. I can't do this. Give me the controller.
Cohabiting bliss, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Anyway, that is your lot for this week. Or is it? Or is it? Not before you go to tpublic.com/stores/BRB to buy some sweet, sweet merch. How are we doing on other faces on stuff?
I haven't had time this week.
Have we got merch?
And Coleman hasn't sent
No?
me a photo of his face.
Get on that,
so-
Tim.
I'm not going to.
Or a photocopy of
You can
his
just
face.
screen cap
I
it.
have other ways of getting it, Coleman. It'll just be better if you give me one that you like.
Can't you just
Bet for
AI
you.
generate my face?
I mean, yeah, I could just put in
On it.
bald man with beard. Generate.
Yeah.
No.
There you go.
Get AI.
That's very reductive
Okay,
summary
sorry.
of
Bald
Coleman
man
there.
with beard and headphones. Create that AI.
There we go.
Get on with that.
Just go, AI, generate Willie Cavallero's face, but in a Portsmouth t-shirt. And there you go.
Also, yeah, we were about to do the TeePublic plug. So also I've
Yes.
been semi-organized and got the dates for when things are on sale. You should buy stuff from our store when it's 35% off sale because that's the best time to do that. You can do that this month during February the 8th to the 11th or February the 22nd to the 26th. So getting that out there ahead of time so you know when the sale is.
Okay. I've had my eye
Yeah,
on
boy.
that Sonic t-shirt, so I might pick that up.
Ooh. And that's tpublic.com/stores/BRB. I said backslash when it's just slash, but still, you get the idea.
Yeah, you just have to say just slash.
John,
it's fine.
I
It's a URL.
have put that is
You're an
quite
RL.
strange.
What's that? You've been playing with AI, haven't you?
Carry on.
Dan's
Speak to
playing with
yourself,
AI
carry on.
while we're meant to be recording a podcast.
Oh, a little bit.
You're trying to generate Coleman's
Little
face in AI.
I'm not going to lie, might be.
Please send me over what
Yeah, I
the
want to
finished
see the
product is.
results
Thank
of
you.
that. They have to go up
There
on
we go.
on the
I'm on it.
on the podcast as well.
It's not just t-shirts we're talking about. We're also talking about Tuesdays.
We are.
What?
But oh no!
I have a special thing to mention this week because we usually do an event called Tabletop Tuesday every Tuesday, but we did not do it last Tuesday, and we will not be doing it for subsequent Tuesdays until at least the 18th of February because a building has collapsed in
Dalston
the
sank.
street. Yeah. Literally opposite where the loading bar is, a building has collapsed, has had like scaffolding that's going all the way across the road to prop it up and make it safe, and it'll be at least till the February the 18th till they've got it clear. So the loading bar is currently closed, so please don't join us on the next couple of weeks.
But what about the tables, Tim?
I will update.
Are the tables okay?
Well, that's why I got to play Tilt 5 this week, and why I also played a game of Ank, which is just behind me. Won't be any Tabletop Tuesdays or any loading bar in Stoke Newington, at least, for the next couple of weeks. Maybe go take the opportunity to go visit Stoke, the Peckham one. And yeah, or Brighton, if you really want to go further afield. But yeah, no Tabletop Tuesdays for the next couple of weeks, I'm afraid, because the road and the building is closed.
Boo.
Just to quickly say, according to the report, no one was hurt. So
Oh,
that's good.
No one was hurt, which is good.
That's might be worth mentioning while we make fun of a building falling
Yeah,
down.
and my friend who frequently gives me a lift home from the events actually parks right outside the shop that claps, so it's a good thing it wasn't on a Tuesday night, basically.
Yes, so I will say, if you've enjoyed this show, then God bless your cotton little socks. You can get in contact with us by going to bigredbarrel.com. We have a comment section there. We also have a link to our Discord. We have a Facebook and a Twitter at Big Red Barrel. Dan's just shown me as a elf with hair and no beard.
That's what AI image. If you just feed it the word Coleman, that's what it came back with.
That's so weird. And also, we have a YouTube, Big Red Barrel TV, and you can go on any of those platforms and say to us, say it loud, say it proud. You can say, I have a question.
Coleman
much
on the
like
shelf.
Sam Ronan has this week. He says, any thoughts on the day before? Have you been following it at all? It was getting
Yes,
major
ish.
hype, but not unlike that other game that everyone else thought might be the next Kojima game. Sorry, someone else has been saying Kojima.
Kojima.
Gamers Confessional keeps saying Kojima, and now it's stuck in my head. Kojima.
I thought that was another fish-based pun that you were going for, but
anyway, they said that it feels
Kojima?
like this is
no.
Sorry, if it feels like this is this is just vapor hype and will likely never see the light of day. I think they were talking about there's that rumored game there's that game on PlayStation as well that people thought might be a Kojima-led version of Silent Hill, but might be just the studio working on their own independent game that's getting major overhype. We don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But yes, the
This
day
is
before,
slightly different.
I saw this like 2 or 3 years ago, I think it was, and saw this demo and went, wow, that looks amazing. It's like a mixture of the Last of Us multiplayer with The Division, but looks more impressive than any multiplayer game out there of its ilk. And just thought, wow, I can't wait for this to come out. I hope this comes to those upcoming next generation consoles when they announce them. And a few years later, it keeps getting pushed back. We haven't really seen more gameplay since those first 2 videos, but from what's been shown off, it looks very interesting. But at the same time, I can't help feel there's some massive scam going on, because recently it got taken off of Steam. They said that it got taken off Steam because there was a technical hitch that caused it to get taken off Steam with a load of other games, even though if you look at the Steam listing, no other games got taken off. Then they followed up and said it's actually because a different company owns the trademark to the day before, so they have to change the name before putting it up again. Now, like, this was meant to launch next week or next month or something like that. And
they were scheduled to put
pushed
out
back again.
They were scheduled to put out a major gameplay video that they've been teasing for a while. It came out that the person that's running, I think it's someone that's running their Discord server or someone that's doing something on a semi-official
who said this
level
week
for
that they
them.
don't believe it exists.
Yeah, they said they don't believe it exists because they haven't seen gameplay. The whole thing about someone else owning the trademark was all really weird because they claimed that they didn't know about it until they were literally about to put this gameplay video up, but that seems to not be true because they must have known about it a long time before, and I can't remember the exact details, but someone did do a deep dive and go into the exact details of why that can't be true. So it all looks very suspicious at the moment.
And now haven't they said that the delay was planned, even though they said it was trademarked? It all sounds a little bit like we need some attention, please.
This happened last year as well. They went, oh, there's going to be that, like, they kept the release date going and wait until the week before the release date to then say, oh, we've delayed it another year. And sort of kind of behind the scenes, there are PR companies that we use to get our video games from a lot of the time. And one of them sent me the email saying, oh, the day before, you can apply for a review copy of this right now. And it says their release date is the 1st of March. And then when you log in there, it goes, game is not currently available. And then the date got pushed back a year. So I don't know what's going on there. I can't help but feel, and there's some comparison on our Discord from about Earth 2. That's a whole another rabbit hole to fall into. But I can't help but feel, but we're going to get at some point, there's going to be all this hype that goes into it, and then some really shady, some form of crowdsourcing campaign is going to pop up. And then nothing's, something terrible is going to come out, or something is never going to come out, and some people run off with the money.
Did this have a Kickstarter or some other way of raising funds from people? Is that part of the problem here? Or
but
it's getting people.
It's voluntary.
Right.
People. It seems like all the developers, people working on PR and stuff, are all volunteers of some form, and it's just 2 guys behind the project.
That's dodgy in itself.
Everyone else are volunteers. That is dodgy in itself. So a lot of alarm bells are ringing. What I think is going to happen is there's going to be all this hype, and then you can't go on Kickstarter with this. You can't go on Indiegogo with this. They're going to do their own grassroots campaign themselves and then run off with the money. That's what I feel.
Yeah, well, why not?
It's all prediction.
Guys, update on the old AI image generator.
Good.
Right.
I think I might have picked a duff one.
Oh.
I think I've got a slightly duff image generator, and I'm just going to I'm just going to get a rogues gallery up here.
Oh, you're killing artists, Dan. Hard work.
I'm
artists.
not, well,
Literally
You're
starving
taking money out of their
artists,
pockets and food out of their
stabbing them in
mouths
their heart.
it's all right. I'm not bloody...
with an
high.
AI-generated
robots
knife.
to steal things. Yeah.
Right, look, here we go.
Activate.
Right. The one on the left is Coleman. The one in the middle is what you get if you put Tim Hibbs in. And the one on the right is what you get if you put Dan Gibbons in.
Which
This
is
is
exactly
terrible.
the same.
No, he's wearing a different shirt.
I'm going to have to figure out a way of putting this into the video. But I will say, this is the same AI that I used to generate the Theresa May civilization pic. Not Theresa May, Liz Truss civilization picture for our
Right.
Great British Debate.
I did wonder where
image.
that came from.
So,
I think I've got slightly more impressive eyebrows and one or two more wrinkles, Tim.
it's
Oh, and you've
exactly
got
the
a
same from
Weird
here.
bit of
No, the hair's
freaky
different.
hair thing, yeah.
Hair's
But
different.
it's the same face.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, pretty
all a
much.
con.
Both of us have got bum chins. Both of
Oh,
us have got
look,
bum
we can
chins.
turn them into NFTs.
Oh, brilliant.
Yep, there we go.
Just what I've always wanted.
The official
one
BRB
NFT.
UK NFTs. These three things.
I mean,
Two of them that are almost identical.
I like the way though that yours, Coleman, is just completely out there
Yeah,
compared to
Just
mine.
an elf with a gold-rimmed armor thing going on.
Anyway, I'm going to stop sharing now. I'll upload these to
It's a
Dropbox.
Chinese knockoff Warcraft character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna go now.
This is highly entertaining for the audio listeners.
Yeah.
Sorry, audio listeners. I'm sure
Sorry,
there'll be
guys.
links somewhere.
I know it's annoying when
Right. Anyway,
we have video and we reference the video thing, but sorry.
I know.
Happens every now and
Sorry.
then.
I know. Anyway, we are done for this week. If you feel so inclined, do feel free to leave us a review on your podcasting service of choice.
Please do.
We do see them. And
Yes,
it would be
like
nice
this.
to hear from you.
Yeah, we see you.
Please
we
leave
see
a
you.
review and maybe tell your friends. Friends that are
Yes.
looking for video game related podcasts. Maybe tell them.
Yes. All of those things.
Or a
Tell a
cooking
stranger.
podcast. Just
Go on the
catch
tube.
them off
Talk
guard.
to the person next to you.
Sneak it in there.
No, I actually do just speak to a stranger. Hello, listen to the BRB UK podcast.
Lie to
whilst
them.
never breaking eye contact and then back away from them.
If they're a bit of a dickhead, then lie to them. Tell them we're like a
My
conspiracy
face is
theory
generated using
podcast.
AI. How did you make your face?
This podcast is
Say
about
that
how
to
the
people.
government's trying to steal your brain.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
But before we
Do
get
those
there,
things.
we're going to talk about Dead Space. Join us next
Right.
week. We got loads of games to talk about.
Yeah, we're going to talk about loads of games. So, thank you for listening. Make sure to click on all the links in the lovingly crafted show notes that Com's given you. And we'll be back next week. So, without further ado, all that's left is for me to remind you that I have been Dan.
I might have been Tim.
I have been AI-generated chaos.
Yes.
Elf-eared
Yes, you have.
chaos.
And that's it up. Thanks ever so much. Thank you for listening. And until next time, dear listeners, toodle bye.
You and your ears are quite welcome.
For the podcasting goodness that you just heard.
Why not roll on over
To BigRedBarrel.com.
for more podcasts?
News, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet. BigRedBarrel.com.
Shame,
Only
shame,
57% of my own games have ever been played. Shame.
shame. Can you ring a bell?
If
for
I
Coleman?
bought all of these games, if
Every time we say shame.
bought all of these games, bearing in mind I got a lot of them through Humble